Live. Live in downtown Detroit. Local 4 live stream with Jason Carr starts now.
Are we? Are we really live right now?
I believe so.
What's that? TV's Ken is back from his digital conference. I trust you had a good time. Everything was good over there, Ken. We are going to start today with Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arr, mateys! Arr! Trouble with audio do we have?
No, it's just my audio. It's just my headpiece. Actually, it sounds fine.
What's the skinny on Talk Like a Pirate Day?
Well, today you're supposed to talk like a pirate.
For what purpose?
I guess it's just for fun. There's so many holidays. Every day's a holiday.
What am I hearing back here?
I do hear
Hey, what are you guys
music.
playing back there?
Oh, I'm sorry. My granddaughter's
Big Randy Henry in the back of the room playing old videos. Yeah, Talk Like a Pirate Day. This is free donuts at Krispy Kreme if you go in and talk like a pirate.
That's right. And if you dress like a pirate, you'll get an entire dozen of donuts for free.
If you dress like a pirate.
Yes, and I believe they also said that if you put the pirate Snapchat filter on and you take a picture of yourself with that you'll also get an entire dozen of free donuts just for acting like a pirate.
Interesting.
Now, I was under the impression that a pirate's supposed to go in and take the donuts.
That's
So
in
it's
true
kind
pirate
of defeating
fashion.
the purpose.
Well played, John. That's right. If you are a true pirate, you don't just talk like a pirate. You just go in, wave a sword around, and then walk out with a dozen donuts.
Piracy.
Everybody is relieved to have been spared their lives. Of course, if a Krispy Kreme was at sea, then that might make more sense, right? Mm-hmm. I suppose there's online piracy. Bowl of Bacon on @JasonCarrTV on the Facebook, @JasonCarrTV. On this Talk Like a Pirate Day, what other nonsense deserves its own day? Vicky says, bring your spouse to work day.
That's a good one.
That used to happen for me every day. Talk Like Trump Day, says Mary. SpongeBob Day. Speaking of pirates.
There you go.
Arr, SpongeBob. What's the name of the pirate on there? The ghost. Why am I blanking right now?
I just remember we were talking about him a few weeks ago with the Hugh
He's
Jackman
voiced
picture.
by Brian Doyle Murray. Why can I think of not Squidward? SpongeBob, not Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob, me boy. No, the ghost. The
Flying Dutchman or something?
The Flying Dutchman.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's
very
it.
much, Jacob. You earned a bonus. Thank you. That would have driven me insane. We never would have gotten through our rundown if I was still trying to think of the Flying Dutchman. So the phone call that we remember, now if you're in improv comedy, you don't do this. You do this. You actually act out the part. I learned that once upon a time. The phone call, the traditional, actually dial somebody's number and speak to them because you're friends and you want to check in and see what's going on. Apparently that died in 2007 when texting surpassed phone calls for the first time ever. John, you're 28. Do you call people on the phone just because, or
Yes,
is it weird?
I
Let
do.
me ask you this. I called John over the weekend to talk about something that we have in the works for this broadcast. Was it weird that my number called, or that you saw it on the
Not at
on the
all.
phone?
Not at all.
Was it
No.
weird to answer the phone?
No, I take phone calls all the time. A lot of times with phone calls, though, I see myself doing it with more long distance. So I've got friends in Seattle. I'm always calling them.
Sure.
And then, you start a conversation and it goes an hour, it goes longer than that sometimes. But what's nice is with those conversations is there's the 3-hour time difference, so I can call any time of night and it's not that bad. But otherwise, I still make phone calls, but I try and keep them to under a minute.
All right. What about you, dear viewer? Are you making phone calls? Is it annoying when your phone lights up and it's somebody calling and you're like, why didn't you just text me? Right on cue.
What? I'm right here. Sorry.
Sonny's on 2 different phone calls right now. He's literally on a landline. Look what I just did. And he's actually on a cell phone at the same time. Speaking of long distance, it used to be like, get off that phone call, it's long distance, it's going to cost me an arm and a leg, said my dad, my grandparents. Paul Gross, come on in. What is this about these solar storms? Are you going to explain this for us?
Well, people are asking me, what is one going to happen now? Well, we don't know when one's going to happen. Oh, sorry about that. We don't know when one's going to happen. People are asking about that. But the thing is, if one of those big mega ones, like the type that happened in 1859 that actually set telegraph offices on fire, and it was so bright, the northern lights were so bright, people literally were awakened at night by the brightness, and they thought it was morning and started cooking breakfast. I mean, it was that big of a deal.
Wow.
These things today could take down entire power grids, and one of them actually did back in 1989, the Quebec power grid went.
We have some animation here to look at.
Nice.
Okay, so now is this the stuff of Pink Floyd laser light shows, or is this legitimate science?
This is actually legitimate science, and somebody actually posted on the Facebook page about, no, it's just the government trying to get involved again in our lives. No, no, no. This is something that the scientists actually brought to the government, and the government is actually taking action because, think about it, if one of these things, it could take down a power grid for, it could be days or weeks, depending upon what kind of warning we have. Now, in the story that I did, which is on clickondetroit.com, I talked to DTE about it, and they say that if they have enough warning, they can actually do things to actually mitigate and even minimize the impacts of these things. But what happens basically, long story short, Jason...
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Not quite that, okay.
Maybe not quite that. Depends how prepared our power companies are. But just when these things happen on the sun, and they do happen, sometimes these charged particles come toward Earth, and what happens is they induce currents in the atmosphere, and that can then impact power grids and satellites and things like that. And so if it's a big one, it could be serious. But
until then,
it sounds like we're prepared, although areas that aren't as prepared could be serious.
All right, Paul. Well, I know you have to go do a cut-in.
Yeah, so by the way, but one thing I got to mention, you're talking about pirates, and getting the free donut day. If you take the Japanese steakhouse guy and you then, give him the donut and he does with the knife and tip the donut, into his hat, wouldn't that'd be great?
That'd be awesome. Especially with a sword.
Yeah, I mean,
Arr. Paul goes, everybody. He has to go do television.
Nice to see you, pal.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, John, where are we in our rundown next?
We're talking about John Kelly.
John Kelly. What can be said about one of the true broadcasting icons in Detroit TV history, starting out at Channel 2 and going over to 7, longtime talk show host, newsman before that, of course, Kelly and Company. Grew up watching him. If you had told me that one day I would be doing something very similar to what he did in morning TV in terms of being a talk host locally, I would have thought that was the greatest thing ever, because I grew up listening to all the Detroit radio stations, watching all of the Detroit TV stations, including the UHF 20 and 50. I knew all the personalities, all the characters. John Kelly, obviously, right there with all of the big names: Jack LaGoff, Bill Bonds, Mort Krim, Al Ackerman, so on and so forth. He passed away at the age of 88. We have not received word what the cause of death, but rest in peace, John Kelly. Definitely one of the founding fathers of Detroit news broadcasting, and a professional inspiration to me as well. So he was one of the good ones. Emmy Awards, continuing with television. Did you watch any of the red carpet or the actual ceremony itself, John?
No, I did not.
The red carpet, Juliana Rancic on E, I think it was on E. Amy Schumer made an appearance and made a reference to, I'm not even sure I can say it. I can't. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Jacob doesn't know. She made a reference to what she was wearing, and it had to do with something underneath her clothes.
Okay.
That has to do a certain time of the month. And
normally that's private.
Juliana Rancic was absolutely floored. I mean, she was like standing there like, where is this going to go next? She was visibly sort of taken aback by Amy Schumer. So I would like to know what was going through her head when Amy Schumer said that.
You got to wonder, especially with live television, you're
fearful. With the awards themselves, People versus O.J. Simpson, 5 Emmys. Game of Thrones, record-breaking haul, overtaking Frasier. Jimmy Kimmel's mom, supposedly making 7,000 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the entire audience. I just saw a headline, forgive me, I don't know if it was Slate or Salon or HuffPost or one of those, that basically said the whole host serving food to the audience bit has run its course.
They're no longer doing that anymore?
No, okay,
it's enough.
It was funny once, maybe twice, 3 times, but now it's over with. Let's not do that anymore. But
It's got to be a mess.
I would think that if you were in the audience and you were hungry, maybe you'd had a couple of pops. That, you know, a nice PB&J would be well.
When I have a PB&J, I almost always have to have a glass of milk with it. So what were they serving to drink?
There's that. By the way, the cast of Stranger Things, the show about 80s kids, kind of like weird goings on, and they're right around that age in 1983. I should be watching that show.
I haven't started it yet, but I've heard such wonderful things.
I was 13 in 83, 12 in 82, 11 in 81, obviously right around that time. Spielberg was releasing Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. to theaters, and I would argue with anybody that 1982 was the greatest year in movies. It was, and to be 12 years old in 1982, when all these great movies were coming out, it was fabulous. The Lions.
Oh boy.
What did you say? Oh.
Yep.
What is there to say at this point? Chuck, do you have a beef?
Yeah, Lions fans.
Would you like to join me?
Huh?
Would you like to join me? Come on over, Chuck. We have a. Chuck is our assignment desk guru.
The people complain about the Lions.
Don't blame the cheerleaders.
Dylan says blame the cheerleaders. I don't want to trip you.
Jinxed us on the show.
She did. Okay, so here you go. Hold your mic. You got to hold it close to your face. It's kind of like a karaoke mic. This is Chuck.
Good morning.
Chuck has a beef with the Lions.
I'm tired of listening to him complain every Monday. The last 55 years. Bobby Lane curse, 50, is it 55, 56, somewhere in there. Every Monday, the team has done nothing.
What about last week when they won?
That's 1 week. Give me a season. One playoff win in 58 years. People still go. People still complain.
What was your line earlier this morning in the newsroom? We are surrounded by the newsroom. There's people seated behind. You can't see off camera here. Rod's right here.
They all wait for it
Chuck this morning being a Lions fan?
I said that it's very entertaining to.
They all wait for it on Sunday.
Show his support for the
No, and I get suckered into watching every Sunday.
And how does it make you feel?
You got to take depression pills after it.
Depression pills? How old are you? That sounds like something a guy would
It's
say.
terrible.
Get off my lawn!
Yeah, that's me.
Give me my depression pills!
I'm the guy that says get off my lawn, but I can't handle it. People still go.
How old is your son? How old is he?
2.5.
2.5. Now, I have indoctrinated my daughter into, from the very beginning, I said, you know, Michigan State, I taught her green and white, I taught her about the Lions, the Tigers, the Pistons, the Red Wings. Have you done that with your son? Are you holding out? Are you allowing him to be, like, say, a Cowboys fan or a Giants fan? Or?
We are going to put my kid on skates this year. Ice skates. He is a hockey fiend. Runs around with his little hockey helmet on, hockey sticks, hockey pucks,
Go
hockey
Red Wings.
nets. He recognizes the Red Wing symbol as hockey. The national anthem is the hockey song.
The hockey song?
He sings it or says a little bit of it, and then he yells "play hockey." It's the
Sounds
wildest
like a good side
thing.
at your house.
We have a 8-month-old, 7-month-old, and he is chewing on the hockey pucks as well. So
notice how he dodged the question. The question was, are you creating another generation of Lions fans?
no, absolutely not. My wife's a Michigan State fan. I'm a Michigan fan. He's not
dodging it again. He's not talking.
We're not introducing him to the Lions. Not going to introduce him to the Lions. Not going to show him the Lions logo.
Matt, do you have a second?
I don't have any Lions memorabilia in the house.
Give me this. He has. You have to go back to work, don't you? Okay, so
Pardon me.
in our parade of guest stars today, thank you, Chuck. Here's morning EP executive producer Matt. Now,
Hey.
Matt, you also have children. Have you introduced the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, and a college team to them?
Oh yeah, my son is obsessed with football. He loves.
So he's a Lions fan.
He's a football fan. He's not really a Lions fan. It could be any game on whatsoever, and he roots for them based on color. Like he likes.
Another hedge.
Yeah. What do you call the LA or now the LA Rams? He called them the. I wish I could remember. But he likes the logo, so whatever logo is the coolest, that's who he's rooting for. So he did root for the Lions, I think, yesterday.
But are you going to paternally steer him in the direction of the Lions?
Don't do it.
No,
Don't
probably
do
not.
it.
Probably not.
This is a worthwhile discussion.
U of
What about
M.
you out there? Are you going to do this for your kids?
Now, U of M, my wife went there for undergrad, graduate school, all that stuff. So she is making us all U of M fans. So my son is obsessed with the Wolverines, football. And, So, well,
The Honolulu Blue.
he doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. He's not a huge Lions
it.
fan.
Drunk Kool-Aid.
Right.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, well, thanks, man.
Sure thing. You got it.
Anything for you, Chief. All right, big guy. Talk like a pirate day. Arr, mateys. Tigers. The Tigers, after Saturday when Michigan and Michigan State both won, and ahead of the big excitement about the Lions having cheerleaders again and actually taking the field against the Titans with a 1-0 record, I think everybody had pretty much written the Tigers off. Are you guilty of writing the Tigers off? As of Sunday, their win on Sunday, they are still two games behind the final wild card spot with something like 13 to play, right?
Yeah, like 2 weeks.
So, I mean, it's feasible. I'm going to bring up the 06 Cardinals again. They lost 14 of 22 to end the season and still went on to beat the Tigers in the World Series. But first you have to make the playoffs in order to do something like that. So, Tigers fans, true-blooded Tigers fans, they're going to be right there to the very end. Maybe they'll win it on the last day of season, or clinch the spot on the last day of the season. Who knows? So we've gone through our near-death experience with solar flares, courtesy of Paul Gross, which may or may not happen. We have a lot of topics to archive.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on playback, we got to a lot today, didn't we?
That solar flare thing is so interesting. I mean, it's not going to cause death and destruction, but we're going to be without power for a little while if that's the case.
Well, that could end up causing the decay of society and death and destruction. On a Monday. We will see you live in the D at 10 o'clock. For now, I'll wrap it up from the newsroom.
Stay classy, Detroit.